beginning of time, from when I can remember, we were always in a gym. My dad and my uncle, they consistently played ball.
Did they play professionally?
Not professionally. They played at PCC. They played high school, college ball. So we always was in the gym. You know, cousins, nephews, uncles, everybody. You know, from the time I was 8 years old, we picked up a ball and we'd walk around, running around in the gym. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it started, just gym rats. 8 years old, my cousin Tracy, he's a few years older than me, he was already able to shoot shots and hit the 10-foot rim. And we were just in there just trying to figure it out. So, you know, like I said, that influence has always been there since, you know, just able to walk at 8 years old and playing at the YMCA. And my uncle, which is Roby's son, Vincent Carson, he also played at a high level. So, you know, it was just one of those things where no matter where we went, basketball was there, you know. So really decide about basketball being a career until probably like my junior year in college. We always, like I said, we played for a long time. We knew that we were good, you know, playing at a high level in high school. I got invited to the top 100 ABCD camps. So there you got the chance to see every player from across the country. You get to see, you know, that you're not the biggest guy in the world. You know, you're a local kid. You're the biggest kid at the school, 6'6", 6'7", but then you go and now you're playing against national players and you walk in and you look like a point guard because everybody's 7'1", 6'9", and you're like, all these kids in high school? So it's just one of those things, man. It's just like you kind of go through the ranks and you play, but you really don't understand it. For us at the time, it wasn't like it is now, where everybody has social media. You know, you could put a video out and everybody across the country can see you on YouTube. So it was more like a homegrown thing, you know. You start off local, you grow your brand. People start coming to the high school watching you play. The next thing you know, the stands are full. And then you start, you know, with the regional thing. When you get to college, you're playing in the Pac-12 and you go on to play USC and UCLA and Oregon and, you know, Washington. And, you know, you kind of just grow this thing organically, you know, from our days and our experiences of playing. And it was just a great experience just being able to compete, you know. No matter where we went, we were just one of those kids like, hey, I'm going to ride my bike 5 miles to where I know these guys are playing, and we're going to get over here and we're going to see who's the best this weekend, you know.
What ball players influenced you?
Wow, you know, that's a great question. Every day we had an influence. If we went to a movie theater and we're walking by a shoe store and you see a Patrick Ewing Adidas shoe in the window, you know, you walk in, you say, wow, Patrick Ewing, his number on the back, that's an influence. We see Iceman George Gervin posters and Dominique Wilkins posters and Michael Jordan posters where you can see how tall he really is, and you measure yourself up to these guys. So, you know, it's just one of those things which you never think as a young kid that you'd ever, number one, meet these guys that you're walking by these stores and just imagining what, you know, what you see on TNT, TBS, you know, back then. Dominique Wilkins, that's all they played because it was Atlanta Hawks. You know, it wasn't like today where you got NBA TV and you could see every game across the country. It was just certain, you know, stations that we were able to get as kids to where we go, oh wow, look at this guy Dominique Wilkins. This is my favorite player of all time. You know, because you get exposed to him at a young age. So yeah, the influence has always been there from those type of players. Like I said, before. You know, my uncle, he played at UCLA. He played with Bill Walton. He played for the great John Wooden. So these influencers are always around me, no matter what. My dad played AAU back then, which is, you know, somewhat semi-pro for those guys back then, to where they traveled abroad to go play in other countries, and, you know, let alone across the country. So, you know, just that influence, even from just the guys in the local park that you can't even remember their names, but they were just kicking your butt every weekend. And you're like, man, I'd never forget that guy. And you can steal things from guys because you're able to see it and feel it. You know, a great player that came before me, my cousin Tracy, high school All-American, high school state records were broke. And the funny thing that you bring that up is we're walking into a 7-Eleven one day, and me and my buddy were like, you know, we're grabbing stickers, we're grabbing whatever, and here's Tracy on the front of the Cal High Sports magazine right here inside of 7-Eleven. I go, oh man, that's my cousin. And my friend's like, nah, that ain't your cousin, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, just being able to then see him and realize that level that he was already competing at, the notoriety he was already getting, and then able to kind of go down there during the summer and visit with him and my cousins and my uncle, and have them come out as, you know, middle schoolers, and he was already in high school, just to be able to come out there and play at a Michael Cooper camp. You know, so you see all these different influences from, you know, the days of Pasadena greats like Michael Cooper, my uncle Vincent, my dad James Murray, my uncle Robbo Murray, like, and they, you know, just the influence that they had in the city of Pasadena, and then able to see, you know, all the things that they were able to do, and, you know, their name carried a long way as well, you know. So it wasn't a big deal once I was able to get opportunity to be on a magazine or get that exposure as well, because I have people in my family that are already, you know, doing it at a high level, and we're able to watch them on TV already, and just kind of see how they're handling it, and being able to talk to them and hang out with them in the summer. It gave me everything, you know. Basketball gave me everything. It gave me the attitude. It gave me the will to come back the next day. It gave me things that I really didn't want to be involved in, like schoolwork. Like most kids, they're like, I can't stand doing schoolwork, but I have to do my schoolwork to be able to perform and play the game that I love. So it pushes you in different areas of life. You know, like I said, you also get to travel. You know, I've been all around the world from the game of basketball from a young age. I remember 18 years old, we're in Spain, we're in Portugal. You know, we're playing teams from Africa, grown men, you know. And, you know, just those experiences, and being in Amsterdam. Yeah. Early on, when we first did it when I was younger, you know, the game hadn't gone global yet. So we're 18, we're in Spain, you know, everybody's speaking a different language. You know, we're just walking down the street, and, you know, we're free to do whatever we want to do, but they're like, what are you doing here? You know, it's this little, they're trying to figure out. And then we're all big and we're all tall. It's like, oh, okay, you know, whatever. So it was a language barrier. There was a cultural barrier there. And then you get to see like what the dream team did, you know, later on when they went abroad, and then people understood what was going on. You know, they understood, oh, this is basketball. That's why these guys are here. They're getting to see these guys up close and personal. Like they saw us when we were 18, but they didn't even know what we were doing there. They didn't understand what was going on. So just to kind of see that, and then you see now how global the game has gone. It's like, you know, we were part of that experience, making it comfortable for other players to have those experiences, guys that play overseas, and really, you know, if they couldn't compete at the highest level in the NBA, you know, go over there and really compete like my cousin Cameron did. He played in Australia. We have, you know, Tracy played over in Italy. I played, after my career was over, I played in China.
How was that?
Oh, China experience was great. This is 2007, 2008. So they were getting ready for the Olympics. So the team that I played on was Guangdong Tigers, right? So I go out there, I'm like second ever NBA player to play in the CBA, Chinese Basketball Association. And this is before they had NBA China, all these different things that were going on. So, you know, I like to look at myself again like, oh, you know, I handle myself well. I was on a team that was respected. I performed good, and I feel like I opened the gates for some of the other guys that came out there in the NBA, and you know, to where you're making a certain amount of money, and they were able to go out there and demand, you know, even more money, you know, after we were able to come through there and you know, kind of pave the way. And I won a championship out there, so I can't, you know, can't complain on that one. I remember my little basket with my diamonds, and you know, just learning so much about the world. You know, you go to China, you see everybody from the world in the airport, huge airports. Everybody's coming there for the commerce. They're coming there for, you know, Nike shoes and Adidas shoes and Michael Jordan shoes, and you know, you learn about business per se. So we're there, we're in Shenzhen, and we go to the, you know, the capital where they make all this stuff. And we have guys that are, you know, entrepreneurs. They play and they come in there and they're gonna get a crate of shoes, they're gonna ship it home, and they're gonna make some money there, you know, $10,000 for a crate, they're gonna make $100,000, $200,000 selling shoes in America. So, you know, you just start seeing things from a different perspective, and you see what happens later, and you see Starberry, Stephon Marbury goes out there, he creates his own brand, he brings shoes back to, you know, the United States and New York, and he brings affordable shoes to kids in that neighborhood. And but I know where that all came from, you know, I get it, you know, so, you know, we were there on the forefront just experiencing all these different, you know, things that now, you know, people see and they think it's just, you know, it just happened, you know. But it took people like us to go out there in 2007, 2008 and have that experience, and where it was comfortable for everybody. You know, it was different because there's so many different people. You're dealing with 1 billion people, right? So we're on the train, and you've never seen a train so packed in your life. To where I had a lady just lay on me, because there's only standing room only, and she just laid on me and went to sleep. Moving around so much, it was hard to get the school curriculum consistent to where you're, you know, around the same teachers. So I struggled in my 9th grade year to where I didn't make grades and I couldn't play the game that I love, you know. So I always talk to kids about, you know, those struggles and having to sit in the stands and watch other players that I knew I was better than go out there and do their thing and score 20 points and be in the paper the next day, and I'm like, oh man, I killed this guy. They don't know, they just don't know. And then I had to go play catch up, you know, summer school, and just, you know, it meant that much to me once I was able to see what I was missing out on. So once I got a chance to catch up in summer school, we actually moved to Fremont, California, and went to this school called JFK High School. You know, my coach, John Webb, was a football coach. But because I was out there, you know, we're playing at the parks, you know, I'm 6'6", I'm bringing the ball up the court, I'm passing the ball, because one of my idols was Magic Johnson. So I'm passing the ball, I'm creating plays, I'm doing my thing, and, you know, other high schools in the area, they're like, man, come play with us. We win, you know, this every year, we do these things. And, you know, my dad was like, well, where you guys gonna put him at? What position you gonna play him at? Oh, we're gonna stick him right down there in the middle. He's gonna play, you know, he's gonna play center, not touch the ball, pretty much. He's like, no, we're not doing that. I'd rather him go over here to this other high school and, you know,
wow,
do his thing. And that was the first time you're like, okay, I get to the high school, team's not good, you know, players are, but I'm used to that because I go to the park and you just pick whoever you pick, and we gotta just win. because we're not going to sit here for another 30 minutes, another hour waiting to get back on the court. So whatever we got to do to win, we're going to make it happen. If they double team me, I'm going to pass the ball to you. We're going to push the ball. We're going to do whatever we got to do to win. So I was used to that dynamic from playing outdoors and in the courts and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really blossomed my sophomore year at that school with John Webb. He didn't know what was going on, and I mean, we were making it up. I'm like, hey guys, we need to get in shape. Like, you know, I'm pretty much coaching the team. Let's get in shape. Let's do some extra lines. Let's run. You know, let's go. You know, so you build your leadership skills and all these different things. And I'm in my mind, I'm not even thinking college. I'm not thinking NBA, none of that. I'm just like, let's just get better every day. And, you know, we see these kids at the other school that, you know, they stack their team and they come to the park. But we know we're better than them. We know we can beat them. But they're feeling themselves. It's all good, you know. We'll get better. We're going to do what we got to do. So, you know, just having that mindset really helped propel and have an open mind to different things. And I actually was working at a movie theater, and I would ride my bike to the movie theater, and I'd, you know, get there, and they're like, you know, lock your bike up. It's my first job, 16 years old. And this is the part where you make a decision, you know. You're sitting there and they, okay, between each show, you go empty the trash. And you got to do this, you go do that. And I'm like, well, why can't I go turn the popcorn? Why can't I get on the cash register? Like, I'm a smart kid, I can do all these things. No, you just, you do this. And that's when I made a decision. Okay, I'm going to take this basketball thing real serious, because this is not the business. Working an everyday job and listening to this guy tell me what he wants me to do, and I know everybody else that's doing their job, I can do the same job. So, you know, you still had those prejudices within the community at the time, to where, you know, if you're a smart kid, you can go, okay, if I do this, if I go this route, I'm kind of hard-headed. I don't like listening. It's gonna be all bad, because I'm not gonna listen to nobody. I'm not gonna have a job. So let's go take this basketball thing serious. And good thing is, my coach John Webb, he really was a coach that really made sure my name was out there. I got this kid, boom, boom, boom. That's how I ended up at the ABCD camp. And once I showed up there, top 100 camp, from what I was doing in my sophomore. Why Berkeley? Everybody says that. For me, it always was a feel. It always was a, you know, like same thing with high school. The people. It was always the people. It was always who's really here to encourage you and push you to the next level. And I felt like when I got to Berkeley and I walked on the campus, we took the BART. It was a BART ride away. Everybody's like, oh, go to Kentucky and fly in, and I'm scared of airplanes. I've never been on an airplane before. You know, so you got a lot going on, you know. You're like, all right, go to UCLA with your cousin. Like, he's got that lock. He's playing the same position I'm playing. So people always like, why Berkeley? I say, well, you know what? I'm going to be able to come to Berkeley just like I did at JFK. And I'm able to come here and compete and play my freshman year. I don't have to wait. I don't have to play behind anybody. I can come right out and I can just do me and have fun, and we can do us as a team. And we had that year, we had a top 10 recruiting class in the country. So I think I was the second signee. We had KJ Roberts. We had Al Grigsby out of Texas. Well, we had a top 10 recruiting class that year. So, you know, that was another thing, like up and coming. You know, you got all these guys at UCLA, the Don McClains, the Tracy Murrays, the Mitchell Butlers. You got every Cal, you know, high All-American on that team. And I actually went to the game to watch my cousin play against Cal, and I saw how they beat up on Cal. I said, yep, this is where I'm coming, because I want to compete at that level. And we came there and we competed, and we got it right. You know, we got it right, and we had a great time my freshman year. We had a good year. Didn't make it to the NCAA tournament, but a lot of young guys performed at a high level, and you know, we really set a name for ourselves, and we had Jason Kidd come in my sophomore year, and that changed everything because now the national spotlight, because he's National High School Player of the Year, came right there to Cal, and then we were off and running from there. Off and running. So, great choice.
Tell us about the NBA draft. How did you prepare for it?
How did I prepare for the NBA draft?
In that.
First of all, I was just like coming into my junior year, like, okay, I set some records last year. We beat Duke, who was supposed to be, doing the back-to-back repeats, and Jason Kidd was there. I was there. We had a great run in the NCAA tournament, went to the Sweet 16, and we really performed well, and played against the #1 team and beat them. We lost to a Kansas team that was stacked, but those are the days you look back on. So coming into my junior year, it was like, all right, so what we got going on, and this is the time where you go, oh, I actually can go to the NBA. They're actually calling, they're actually, recruiting, and they're really like, oh man, if you leave now, you could be a top 10 pick and all this stuff. And I had set some records. I was already on pace to pass Kevin Johnson, who was the all-time leading scorer at Cal. He did it in 4 years. I was about to do it in 3. So I knew in my mind coming into that season, stay healthy, stay in shape, perform well, and I can get to the NBA. And so that was what was going on in my mind my junior year, just prepping for all, getting to the tournament, getting to the NBA. And we did that. We got there, and we didn't perform well because I think everybody was already ready to get up out of college. My passion went from basketball and the teaching of the game. So I was able to teach my son, and teach a lot of kids, and do a lot of camps and clinics. And I always thought in the back of my mind, like, oh, one day I want to coach. Then I got an opportunity to coach some guys at a high enough level to where it was like, nah, I don't want to coach. Because in my mind, it was the coaching was teaching the game, the fundamentals, the basics, really seeing a kid take those fundamentals and become a player. Coaching at the level that I thought I would want to coach at was just managing personalities. This guy's got a bad attitude, he's got a great attitude, so how do you coach him and coach him at the same time? How do we pull this whole thing together? How do we, know when to go hard and know when to go light on the guys? Like, it becomes all that management. So it really wasn't. So when you look back and you go, oh, Doc Rivers, or you see these former players that are coaches, you see why Magic couldn't do it. You see why Larry Bird couldn't do it. You see why guys at a high level, because they were able to do it through instinct, and it just came natural to them. So when they see these other guys, they're like, well, just do this. Just jump over this guy, It just doesn't translate, or, they'll be really hard on someone because they were hard on themselves, and they don't understand why this guy doesn't have the drive. You'll see guys like Kwame Brown go, I struggled because they wanted me to do it the way they did it, and that's why I struggled. I just didn't know what to do, and I didn't have that same drive. Like, not everybody has that same drive. They got the natural talent. So it's just, my passion now is just business. I've been getting more into different aspects of business and taking everything that I've learned over all my years of playing in the business of basketball, that's what you used to call it. We'd walk in and, I got a lot of knowledge and a lot of different things. So I just feel like I'm able to talk to guys that I run into, or young black men, and help, give them a world view of how they're able to look at it and fit in, if that makes sense. And so like with my son, for example, we see how the world is moving, and he played basketball at a high level, but then he's like, I'm more than basketball. And I agree. You have a degree from Pepperdine University. You're looking at $60,000, $70,000 a year. school, that you went and you earned a scholarship there, and you worked for all that, and then you go, as you're going through those ranks, and because of all the things that we've been through and the things that I've seen, I'm pretty forward thinking, and I go, hey, you know, don't just get a business degree, get a computer science degree. So he went and got his degree in computer science. He can code, he can do all those things. And, you know, it took, you know, us being forward thinking and seeing everything and going, oh, I remember 2007, I was in China and I saw, oh, that would be easy to go, you know, capitalize on, you know, a Michael Jordan shoe. And open up these shops, and now these kids are trading shoes on the stock market. How does a shoe get traded on the stock market? And it is going up and down every day. You know, so we're seeing all these different things, and you're looking at crypto, and you're going, oh, I remember in 1999, and I was in the Bay Area. I was playing with the Clippers, and we go, and here come the dot-commers. They're pulling up in Corvettes, and we're pulling up in Mercedes-Benzes, and they're going, hey, we're here to go hang out at the party. And we're like, so where you get that car from? Oh, I just sold my company for $10 million. We're like, so what company? Oh, we got crypto, such.com. And we're like, oh, wow. And then we see that thing do what it did, and we see all the millionaires made from that. You know, then we see, all right, there's only Google left and certain companies left and Yahoo. You know, I remember it was 20, 30, 40, 50, you know, different companies. They all had money, and all these young guys, 25, 26 like us, are pulling up to the club with these nice cars and watches like we have on, making as much money, if not more, than we were making. And so you see it and you go, oh, wow. And you look at this crypto thing now, you go, oh, I see, here we go again. I see it coming. And you see it. And you see millionaires now driving around in these nice cars, and they're like, oh, you know, I bought this crypto, Ibu Shibu, and I just made $1 million. I made 10 million. Here's a repeat. You know, it's just like these things go around, they come around, and they reemerge in different ways, you know. And so just being that guy, I'm like, oh, how do I get involved? You know, I talk to my son, and he's got the computer savvy, and I go and I invest in some of this stuff, you know. And then we do this, we do that, and you know, we have things like the pandemic that just happened, and you know, I'm always like, all right, well, what does that mean? I can't teach basketball anymore. I can't, you know, pass this basketball to this kid because of this pandemic. I can't walk in the gym because of this pandemic. I can't do what I've done naturally my whole life. So what do I do? Then you go mindset, future, and I'm sitting there going, everything's about home delivery now. So what does that mean? Okay, well, I can start another business, and this is the prime time to get involved with Amazon, FedEx. These companies, they're growing by 20% every year. And that's where my mind is, and that's where I'm like, you know, okay, well, there's no more basketball, you know, maybe just go over here and do this. And I've kind of been forced in that direction. T. Murray.
Yes.
Always been a great down-to-earth kid, mentor for us when we were younger. We always looked up to him, you know, he size 17 shoe. He always was, like I said, the guy, we went over there to go play ball, go to the Michael Cooper camp. He was always doing things with Nike back then. You know, they were sending him shoes, test shoes. You know, we're like, they're sending you free shoes? You know, back then it's unheard of. To test out, and you tell them what you liked about the shoe, what you didn't like about the shoe, and you know, so he was always kind of ahead of his time too, in terms of what he was able to do with his career and all the things that he was able to afford his family and all the things that, but he always down to earth, always a good guy. Here come the T. Murray smile. He hit the corner. He always was that guy, like like a politician, you know. What up? Hey, he knew everybody in town. You know, he was dabbling in the music. He's doing this, doing that. You know, one thing I can say about our family, we always flexible. You know, always, oh, let me try this out. Let me do this. Let me try that out. You know, never just like, you know, too stuck on one thing. So, you know, always, T. Murray was always making beats. like a lot of young guys back then, and he wasn't a good rapper or anything like that, but you know, he always had his hands in some stuff. So him and Cameron, they had an entrepreneurial mindset as well. Cameron, he's always been the same thing, you know, knows everybody in the neighborhood, club promoter, Harlem Globetrotter, you know, great personality, always up on the latest, always asking the right questions, always getting in on some level of everything that's going on in the city, you know, business-wise. You know, he's similar like his dad, Robbo. You know, to this day, I was talking to somebody, what's your uncle doing? Robbo, we always see Rob. Where's Robbo at? Where Pop's at? Where Pop's at? You know, known in the community, known in the neighborhood. So that, you know, that's their thing. You know, that they took from their dad, and they run with it. Tracy's still involved with UCLA. Marcus is always the wild child. You know, he's always the guy bringing the family together. He's that guy. He's the glue, per se. He's just always making sure he knows the pulse of what's going on in the family. He's making sure everybody, you know, stays in connection and always knows what's going on with, you know, everything that's going on in anybody's family. Like, oh, LJ's playing over here, or this guy's over here, and he's just, like I said, he's the glue guy, you know. He just bounces around, funny guy, always upbeat, always jolly, you know. So Marcus, he's just always been, even my dad is the same thing, like, well, who made you the guy to bring everybody in the family together? Because my dad's the rebel. So Marcus is the glue guy. That's what I like to say. He's the Draymond Green.
Wow. Wow.
Jack of all trades, master of none, but you can't win the championship without him.